Good morning, everyone. I'm Patrick Fazio with breaking news here from the 41 Action News newsroom. We are following breaking news that we need to warn you about, especially the city of Atchison in particular. The city just confirmed to us they have a major chemical leak, and you need to know about evacuations and sheltering in place because of a chemical leak at the MGP plant. So take a look at the pictures there from Atchison of this major chemical leak. So if you are in this plume, if you look outside your window and you're in this plume, you are urged by city officials to stay in place, shelter in place, keep your doors and windows shut. If you are outside of this plume, you are urged to evacuate the city of Atchison. So we are trying to learn more about this chemical leak. City officials believe it's a chlorine that has leaked, possibly from an explosion. Hazmat crews are still assessing the situation. The emergency management team there put on Facebook, Atchison residents, please shelter in place. If you're not in Atchison, please stay outside of town. More details to come. Since then, they have told us if you are not in that plume, as we said, you should evacuate. Get out of there. So we've also heard that schools are keeping kids inside, and they're telling parents, do not come to pick up your kid at this point because it may not be safe. Benedictine College has evacuated. So we know it's windy out there. We're trying to figure out exactly where this plume is spreading. Winds are moving north, so this will continue to spread. But if you're already within that plume, it's better just to keep the doors and windows shut and shelter in place. Another update here. Okay, they're also closing and evacuating the Atchison County Courthouse. If you look outside and you see the plume is already there, you're seeing this haze from this chlorine that is leaked from MGP plant, the MGP ingredients in Atchison. If the plume is already there, you're inside. Shelter in place, close the doors and windows. So this, as we heard from city officials and people there in Atchison, they're saying this is chlorine. It smells like chlorine. We don't know if there's anything else that is leaked out from MGP plant there in Atchison, but we want to find out more. How serious is this chlorine? So we have an expert on the phone right now, Phil Silverman from Mizzou. Phil, thank you for joining us.
So standing outside would be, just in a word, really bad.
Okay, Phil, and with your experience also as a firefighter, we've had a few people online asking us on Facebook Live from Atchison, how long are they going to have to shelter in place? Make sure your pets are inside. If you have a dog outside, think about them as well. If your kids are at school, your kids are either inside the school, they're keeping them on lockdown, or they've been moved. We've been hearing possibly to the airport there. We're trying to find out more information about that. We're expecting a news conference in about 19 minutes or so. But this is the worst we've seen so far. Oak Grove, Missouri, where Captain Greg says about 30 or so homes damaged or destroyed after that tornado hit the area last night. Just one of the tornadoes that came through the Kansas City area last night. And now we're getting our first look overhead. So, Captain Greg, as we wait for our feed from the news conference to come back, that one shot you were just showing, I believe, to the left of where you are right now, was that a foundation? Okay, there it is. Is that, we can't tell if that's a driveway. Is that a foundation of a home?
Patrick.
Yeah, absolutely. To think that, as we just heard officials say, no life-threatening injuries, and hard to imagine that is the foundation of a house. Does not look like there's any basement or place to go below ground. If there was someone inside, can you imagine they would have survived that? SWAT teams are out in the streets as the Hilton Garden Inn goes on lockdown, all after police say a gunman started shooting at them. That might also be flashbangs from police. Is there any activity that you're seeing from outside? We don't want to give away the police location, but are police returning fire? Breaking news here at 6:29. Shots fired and sounds of gunshots and explosions at this hotel in Kansas City, Kansas. Guests are still inside the hotel. That part of the hotel was evacuated, that wing of the hotel. An hour after we had heard about the latest round of gunshots, police are saying the suspect is firing more from inside the Hilton Garden Inn. This is in downtown KCK, right next to the federal courthouse. Belinda, are there any buildings nearby that firefighters seem worried about with the wind blowing this morning? And you see them fighting from the side and above. They're not going inside. They're staying back, fighting this defensively. There's the other fire. Okay, so yes, we have two buildings on fire, as you see right there. So multiple buildings
on fire, at least 2 in the historic Jazz District. Yeah, sir, I think what we saw from a different angle that you didn't see was the back of that building that you're standing in front of. The back of that was still on fire just a few minutes ago. This is why we send multiple crews to these breaking news scenes, because from one scene, it didn't look like it was as bad. We just saw Sarah Blake a few minutes ago. It didn't look as bad from her vantage point, which I believe is north of there. Belinda there is south, and you see that fire is still roaring. It is a raging fire as crews are trying to put this out and still make sure the second one is completely out. So take a look. In the states that are pretty much a toss-up right now, if Trump were to take those, we turn those red, no one gets to 270 electoral votes for the win. Utah would be the deciding state. However, Evan McMullin is the candidate who's been pushing and just focusing on trying to win Utah. If that happens, no one gets to 270, then it goes to the House of Representatives.
Right after talking to a judge about it,
We want to talk to you about the Ricky Kidd case.
Missouri's Assistant Attorney General refused to talk to us about the Kansas City man who says he's wrongly convicted.
We want to know why you're opposing Ricky Kidd's release.
Why don't you talk to our press officer? Thank you, though.
I've tried.
As Ricky Kidd told us last fall, his former public defender failed to investigate evidence that proves he's wrongly imprisoned.
These are glaring facts.
But the state disagrees.
You just spoke in court, though. You can't talk to us?
Sir, I will be glad to have you talk to our press office.
I've already tried that. So why do you oppose his release? A police commissioner says he's innocent.
Kansas City Police Commissioner Alvin Brooks wants Kidd released.
Ricky Kidd is innocent.
Brooks told us he re-examined the 1996 double murders and believes the state locked up the wrong guy.
Ricky Kidd serving life sentences on crimes he didn't commit.
Former Jackson County prosecutor Cindy Dodge agrees and is representing Kidd for free.
You don't have any concern that a police commissioner and former prosecutor say he's innocent? I mean, according to your name is here right in the court document, and you're not even arguing that he's guilty, just technicalities that he missed his chance to properly appeal. You don't seem concerned about this. Do you even think he's guilty? No answer? I mean, you're spending taxpayer money to fight this case. You're keeping him locked up in prison. Is that the best use of taxpayer money?
Y'all have a good day, sir.
This is nuts.
Dodge says not only does Kidd have an alibi, the evidence shows who actually committed the murders.
There is one of the perpetrators that is still running around in the community.
The evidence even points to who the real killer might be. Have you investigated that?
Kidd is down to his last chance at freedom since no politicians will help him.
Not the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office, not the Attorney General's office, not the governor.
A judge will decide this summer if Kidd walks free or stays locked up. In Kansas City, Patrick Fazio, 41 Action News.
Only 62% of tickets to the events are sold. The opening ceremonies are set. Oh, hi. Look at that. In case you couldn't get enough of us, we thought we'd give you a little more.
That was crazy.
And then our director said that is enough. Only one Lindsay and one Patrick is plenty. Thanks for the update, Richard. And these are reports that we're going to continue to update for you. Hold on. Not that fast. Hi, how are you? All right, that's moving faster than the hurricane is. Anyway, this hurricane is making its way up the East Coast now.
He does not like that
spray
either.
looks just as bad as the shots. And thinking back to my kids, I don't think they liked either one.
Did you know that at the end of the World Series, there was a mysterious man in a trench coat who walked onto the field as the team was celebrating? No one stopped him, and he walked right up to the players and asked them for the game ball. He actually ended up getting it, but now it's back with the Royals. Here's how.
It's a piece of baseball history. And one of the most prized possessions from the Royals' 2015 championship season.
It's the last out baseball that made you World Series champion, so it's pretty special baseball.
Kurt Nelson now has the ball on display in the Royals Hall of Fame, but it almost didn't end up there.
And that person was watching him the whole time to make sure that the ball never left his glove.
As soon as Drew Butera caught the final out, someone went after the Royals catcher as the team celebrated on the field.
It was within a minute or so.
You never see the man anywhere in the TV coverage, but we found a video online that a fan recorded from the stands showing the mystery man.
I just didn't know what he wanted.
Drew Butera told us what he thought when the man came up to him.
grabbed me and said he wanted the ball, and I was like, wait, what? No.
The man turned out to be an authenticator from Major League Baseball. It's league policy to tag the ball immediately so they know they have the right one.
Once I found out they needed to authenticate it, I knew what the intentions were, and they were going to give it back to me.
Butera held on to the ball, even though someone later offered him $25,000 for it.
I kept it for a while in the offseason, then when we came back for Fan Fest, I gave it back to the team, and they put it in the Hall of Fame out in left field.
He thought about keeping the ball for his kids and grandkids, but Butera decided every kid should see it.
It doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the team, it belongs to the fans and the city.
Now there's no mystery where all Royals fans can find this piece of Kansas City history.
All right, so now you know what happened exactly after the game, how quickly they have to authenticate that. And there were also Major League Baseball authenticators in the Royals clubhouse right after the World Series to authenticate bats and gloves and jerseys and whatnot to make sure they had the right one from the World Series.
Channel 41 and Patrick Fazio, you were amazing. You helped stay behind the scenes and you kept making phone calls to see where it was at, and that helped.
This Johnson County mom is thanking us for a new law in Kansas schools. The governor signed off today on suicide awareness training for teachers, and only here on 41 Action News, Patrick Fazio shows us the impact.
Surrounded by families who've lost children to suicide, Governor Sam Brownback signed a bill to help Kansas students.
A lot of comfort knowing that we are going to make a difference.
With her son at her side, Kathy Housh remembered her daughter Katie, who ended her life in 2014.
I know that her legacy will save hundreds, if not thousands, of kids in the state of Kansas.
After hearing her story, State Senator Greg Smith introduced the Jason Flatt Act in January.
This is one of those bills that not only makes you feel good, it actually does good.
It requires free online training for teachers to spot potential warning signs of suicide.
It's the second leading cause of death for teenagers, actually all the way up to about age 24 across the nation and in Kansas. And that's a scary stat.
As a teacher himself, Smith convinced Kansas lawmakers to unanimously approve becoming the 19th state to adopt the Jason Flatt Act. Tennessee first passed it in 2007.
The next 3 years, suicide rates in Tennessee went down 28.3%.
Clark Flatt started the Jason Flatt Act in memory of his son to try to prevent other teens from ending their lives.
There'll be young people alive in the coming years here in Kansas that wouldn't have been alive if we haven't started training the teachers here.
Now that the Jason Flatt Act is the law here in Kansas, school districts must start training teachers and staff beginning next year. In Topeka, Patrick Fazio, 41 Action News.
Will never, ever be forgotten.
2 years after losing her daughter Katie to suicide, Kathy Housh is trying to prevent this pain for other families.
I miss you so much, baby girl.
She wants middle and high schools across the country to train teachers to spot potential warning signs.
We can make a difference for other parents so they don't have to feel this pain.
Kathy later learned her daughter showed warning signs at school before ending her life. Now she's asking Congress to pass the Jason Flatt Act nationwide. It requires free online suicide awareness training for teachers.
I do think that had the Jason Flatt Act been in place, I think that there would be a strong possibility she would be here today with me.
After seeing our story on Kathy's daughter,
that story really touched me.
Lawmakers in Missouri and Kansas introduced the Jason Flatt Act. Kansas lawmakers passed it unanimously this year, and the governor signed it into law.
This will save lives, no doubt about it.
After Clark Flatt started the law in Tennessee to honor his late son, teen suicide dropped 28% in that state. Kansas became the 19th state to adopt the law, but not Missouri.
We've reached out to them. What bothered me there is it's set for over a month and a half, ready to be put on for a vote by the House that could have passed it.
Missouri lawmakers never voted on the Jason Flatt Act, even though the Speaker of the House told us otherwise.
That bill will have a chance.
Will it be recognized on the floor?
Oh, well, that's a floor leader question, but I intend
I asked the floor leader. He's directing me back to you.
I intend to put the bill on the calendar.
But it will be put on the calendar.
As I've now answered you 3 times, it will go on the calendar this week. Well, I've been clear with you, and you've been clear with me. It will go on the calendar this week.
The Speaker eventually put the bill on the calendar, but never put it up for a vote in the Missouri State House.
We need to save lives. We need to reach across the aisle.
Kathy decided to reach out to Congress members from Missouri to see if they'd introduce the Jason Flatt Act nationwide, but no one responded.
I don't know why, we are talking about a law that would save lives.
Kathy asked us to help, so we contacted them too. Representatives with Congressman Cleaver and Senator Blunt each said they'd check, but never got back to us, even after we followed up. Senator McCaskill's office told us they would meet with Kathy.
We just met a couple weeks ago, so I'm still very hopeful that Senator McCaskill's office will continue to look at it.
For now, no one is introducing the bill in Congress. Senator McCaskill did help pass a law last year to reduce veteran suicide.
We've lost 5 members of the National Guard in Missouri already this year to suicide. That is something that is unacceptable.
Kathy hopes someone in Congress finds it just as unacceptable that roughly 100 American teenagers end their lives every week. It's the second leading cause of death for young people.
I would just pray that no other parents would have to bury their child.
Kathy says she'll never give up trying to prevent other parents from knowing this pain, since she can never forget.
I love you, sweetheart.
Patrick Fazio, 41 Action News.